and welcome back to my channel. So today I have another video all about starting university, and today's video is going to be 10 things that I personally wish I knew before I started university last year. So these are all points based off my personal experience, and then I also asked some of my friends at university as well what they wish that they knew before they started. So it's a mix of my advice and their advice, and hopefully it's going to help those of you that are either starting really soon or have started already but haven't been there for long. I'm not going to lie, there's probably going to end up being more than 10 because you all know me, you know I love to waffle, but I've narrowed it down to 10 sort of categories. So the first thing that I wish I knew before I started uni is don't stress about being able to meet people. You will inevitably meet people at university. You're gonna have to try very hard not to meet people. And even though this year is very different to other years, I know you guys aren't having the conventional freshers and things might be online and everything's just going to be slightly different. You've got to remember that you're all in the same boat still. Just like previous years were in the same boat, you're all in the same boat. No one has it better than anyone else here. So you are going to find ways to meet each other and get to know people and make friends. So I really wouldn't worry about it. Another point I want to make is that socializing and meeting people doesn't always have to involve alcohol. I definitely had a conception that this was the case and this was like the only way that you could meet people during freshers and beyond. But it's not like that at all. If anything, you probably make the closest friends when you're actually sober because you'll know for definite how you vibe and how you get on. So I wouldn't worry about having to drink alcohol to meet people because there are so many other ways to do that. Of course you do bond with people on nights out and like when you go out for drinks and stuff, but just having things like film nights and just chilling together is probably one of the best ways to get to know people. My second piece of advice sort of follows on from that, and I wish that I knew that you don't have to have a massive group of friends at university. I definitely went in with the idea that I was gonna have so many friends at university. I was gonna have a massive friendship group, especially because I came from such a small sixth form where there wasn't that many people to be friends with. I thought I was gonna be friends with absolutely everyone that I met at university, and this is just not the case. I think lots of people at uni are also very guilty of calling their sort of acquaintances and people that they know loosely their friends, just so they can appear as though they've got a massive friendship group. And this is where this misconception comes from. Just because you know lots of people doesn't necessarily mean that you have loads of friends. I'd always find myself comparing myself to these people that said they had loads of friends and it appeared on their social media that they had so many really close friends. However, you just got to remember this probably isn't the case, and you don't have to be friends with everyone that you meet. You might meet a lot of people, you might know a lot of people, but you don't necessarily have to be friends with them. I've found that actually having a small group of really close friends is a lot more fulfilling than having loads of random acquaintances that you don't really have a lot in common with. My friend Dorothy made a really good point along these lines, and she said, find people that you like, not people that you tolerate. It's okay not to be friends with the first people that you meet at university. I made my closest friends and my housemates further along in first term. I didn't meet any of them in freshers apart from Megan, and similarly, like when I've been back now in Leeds in second year, I've met so many people already since I've been back, and I can see myself becoming really close friends with them and getting along really well with them. And that was at the start of second year. I didn't know these people at the start of first year, or at all in first year actually. So you make friends as you go along, and I wouldn't worry if your friends sort of fluctuate when you're at uni. It's natural to become close to some people, then to become close to other people. Your friendship group will fluctuate, and that is completely natural because there are so many people to meet at university that you are going to find people that you get along with more than others. The third thing that I wish I knew before moving to uni is it's okay not to be busy 24/7. If you watched any of my vlogs, you'll know that this is me primarily telling myself this advice because I am still so guilty of thinking like this. But uni isn't like sixth form or college or secondary school. Your timetable is likely to be a lot smaller. This completely depends on your course because Megan, my housemate who does maths, she has like 20+ hours a week, whereas I in business have like around 8 a week. So it really depends on your course, but you are likely to have less contact hours than in sixth form or secondary school, and you just have to adjust to this. I know in first year especially there is such a temptation to sort of waste this free time away, but I'd really urge you to try and use it productively. The reason that you have little contact hours is probably because you're expected to do lots of reading and your own research, so make sure that you're actually doing this because that is why we have all this free time, and you will thank yourself so much when it comes to exams or essays and things like that if you've actually used your free time productively. What is this now? Is this the fourth thing? I don't know. But the next thing that I wish I knew before I started uni is you will end up spending a lot of money. So make sure that you are tracking where you're spending this money and you're just keeping a log of things that you're spending, and maybe set yourself a budget, especially in first term and when you first start and you're just here, there and everywhere doing so many different things. It's so easy to spend just loads of money absentmindedly without really keeping track of your transactions. However, as a student, it's so important to keep on top of your finances, to make sure that you're paying things like your rent and you've got enough money for the basics like food. I'm not saying never spend any money, like I would be such a hypocrite if I said that because my spending is the worst, but as long as you keep track of what you're spending, you will hopefully be okay. And I'd really recommend as well maybe setting yourself a budget before you even start university, or maybe like after a few weeks of being at university, just so you have a set amount to spend every week, and that way you don't really have to track afterwards and potentially like have consequences of your spending because you know that you're spending money that you definitely have. Because I know so many people that ended up going into that overdraft in first year, and I really would not recommend doing that. Obviously the overdraft is there for a reason, but I'd try and avoid it if you can, basically. My next piece of advice is regarding lectures, and that is don't be tempted to write everything down. Obviously this year all of the lectures are online, or they are at Leeds anyway, so this is a little bit easier. More than likely you'll be able to go back and look at the lectures again, especially as they're online this year. They'll probably be uploaded to your uni's online Blackboard, or they'll be emailed to you, something like that. So when you're in the moment in the lecture, don't be tempted to write everything down. Instead, just make sure to actually listen to what the lecturer is saying, because often when they're going through the slides, they will add things and make comments that aren't on the slide or like in your textbook, and these little nuggets are so good for exams and essays. So personally, I'd say it's probably more important to write down things like that rather than just copying what's already on the slide, because then you can build up a greater bank of notes and like a greater bank of knowledge rather than just copying stuff that you could do anytime. Following on from that, the next thing is don't be afraid to contact your lecturer or your seminar tutor and start building a relationship with them. This can actually be incredibly beneficial if you build up some sort of relationship with them and they know your face, they know your name, because if you need any favors, they'll then be more inclined to do them, and they'll be more inclined to help you. Even though they've got so many students, they still can make time to talk to you and help you. So don't feel as though you can't reach out, especially at the start of university. It can be confusing. The teaching methods are different, the learning methods are different to what you've had before, so don't be afraid to reach out to them and contact them. The next piece of advice is contribute in your seminars or your workshops. I know now they're probably going to be online, but still try and contribute, as intimidating as it can be. If you've got something to say and something to add, there is no point sitting there in silence, because if you vocalize your point, then the seminar tutor or the lecturer can tell you if it's correct, they could build on it, and this could be amazing knowledge and like amazing points that you could use in essays or your exams in the future. And having this direct one-on-one feedback, especially in seminar setups, is something that you won't really otherwise get. So make the most of them. At the end of the day, you are paying to be there. This is what I always have to remind myself when I'm sat there in silence in the seminars. I'm like, Lydia, you have paid 9 grand to be here. Why are you sat in silence? Also, seminar tutors want students to contribute. Seminars are supposed to be more of like a conversation setup, and even if no one else is saying anything, please be the person to just pipe up and say something, because more than likely as soon as you say something, you'll get the ball rolling and loads of other people will then start to contribute too. This happened all the time in my seminars in first year. No one would say anything for ages, and then as soon as one person says something, just everyone suddenly has something to say. My next point is be selective with your reading. Obviously this depends on what degree you're doing, but if you're doing one that involves essays and words, so not like maths, then you'll more than likely have a reading list. However, you don't need to read every single page of every single book on this reading list. Being selective is a skill at university. Being selective with what you write down in lectures, being selective with what you read. If you try and do everything, it's near enough impossible, or you'll just have no life, because there is normally so much, and normally you don't need all of it. With essays, I would always choose my question before I started the reading, and then once you know your question, then you can be more selective when you're reading and only really skip to parts that are directly relevant, so only relevant chapters, or you could literally just read the introduction or the conclusion. I don't know if this is just a business thing, but we read a lot of online journal articles in business, and there is a way to be selective and read these most effectively that you'll probably get taught anyway at university. But yeah, this is just what I wish I knew beforehand. The next thing I wish I knew before I started is don't rush into signing a house. Not that I did rush, and not that I regret my decision at all, but I just want to let you guys know, because as a first year last year, I was under the impression that you had to sign for your second year house so quickly, when actually that's not the case at all. Talking to people that are in the years above me, they didn't sign until like February, March, April. Some didn't even sign till the summer, and I'm not saying leave it till the last minute. However, there was definitely an impression in first term that we had to sign as soon as possible, and this is definitely a kind of hype created by estate agents, because obviously they want to get people signing with them as soon as possible so they can get the ball rolling. However, don't fall into this trap. Make sure that you are signing with people that you really like and you really get on with. Try and not sign with people that you don't know very well. Sometimes this is the case, and there might be like one person in your group that you don't know as well. That's absolutely fine, but make sure that you're at least signing with some people that you really like and you really get on with. We signed for ours a few days before we broke up for the Christmas holiday, which seemed fairly late at the time, but wasn't in reality. My final piece of advice is kind of pessimistic, but I want to be really realistic with you guys, and this is something that I wish I knew, because it would have saved me a lot of mental stress. And it is, first year won't necessarily be the best year of your life, and freshers especially probably won't be the best week of your life either. University is an amazing experience, there is no denying that. However, set yourself realistic expectations going in. It's probably not going to be like the movies, not that I think there's any real movies about university, but you know what I mean. There are definitely highs and lows to first year. It's definitely not all one high. You won't be having the best time of your life 24/7. Of course, you're going to make amazing memories and you're going to make amazing friends and have great experiences, but please don't put the pressure on yourself to feel like this 24/7, because I definitely put that pressure on myself, and as soon as I wasn't having fun, as soon as I wasn't with people and doing things, I was like, oh my god, I'm doing first year wrong, I'm wasting first year away. However, everyone feels the same way. It's not supposed to be like that 24/7, because that would be completely unsustainable. So it's okay to have times where you're not with people and you're not doing things and you're not having the best time ever, because at the end of the day, even when you're at university, you are still human and we still all have human struggles. Especially with freshers, I'd say even though freshers is good, personally, I think it gets better. As you get more comfortable being at university, you get into more of a routine, you get more confident living on your own. I think the experience genuinely improves after freshers, and like I said earlier, it's not like you stop meeting people after freshers. I actually met most of my friends after freshers, so I'd say even if freshers isn't the best week ever, I'm not gonna lie, this year it probably won't be if the majority of it is online. Don't stress, because it will probably get better, and Freshers Week definitely does not define your whole university experience. So yeah, those were the 10 things that I wish I knew before I started university. I hope that this has helped you guys in some way. If you are already at university and you're watching this, then feel free to comment some things down below in the comment section that you wish you'd have known, and we can get some more advice going and get like a little conversation going. But if you did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel and follow my social media, which will be linked down below in the description. Bye guys!